Hello world, hola mundo. My name is Rachel. This is baby Osara. We're here in Costa Rica, and welcome to our channel Wisdom Weaver. For this vlog, I am really excited to talk about a postpartum practice that I feel was so important for me for those first weeks, and the lessons I learned from it have been huge continuing on into my motherhood journey. It was my first baby. We're 4.5 months in now. Yeah, and I feel like postpartum is one of those things that, at least where I was coming from, can get kind of overlooked a little bit, depending on who you're working with, who your care providers are. It seems like there's so much hype and so much put on the birth. And then afterwards, maybe you have one little check-in with someone or something like that, or someone will make you a couple meals, or, there's some things, and I guess it all depends, where you're coming from in your support team. But I remember when I was with my best friend after she had her first baby, and I was so shocked. I lived with her the first year after, and I just remember I was so shocked about, how challenging it really was in those first weeks after. And I didn't really feel like that many people talked about it. Like, it wasn't talked about. Like, just people are just going through it, within their personal families at home, and yeah, it just wasn't talked about. The birth gets talked about so much, preparing for the birth and all that, and then, but the postpartum, I don't know, culturally, being from the States, I don't know, I feel like it just wasn't talked about that much. So I'm really excited to just introduce this practice, and I'm definitely excited to make more videos about it, about the details. But so I worked with a midwife from afar because we did a free birth, home birth, unassisted birth. So it was just me and my partner there, and we had a midwife who we did calls with in the preparing months before, to coach us, prepare us. And what it really came down to is that it seemed like in the end, a lot of, the preparation that she did for us was really for the postpartum, and for this practice that she calls the nest, which is the 42 days after you give birth, the mother especially, but ideally it could be the whole family too, depending on how you plan for it. And I would love to do a whole nother video just on planning and prepping for the nest. So this one I kind of just want to talk about what the nest is and a little bit about what it did for me. But so the whole concept is that for those 42 days after, the mother is, not doing her normal household duties that she does. She's not cooking, she's not cleaning, she's not doing laundry, and really just not really being on the phone, not really doing all the other outside world stuff, and really just taking that time to, be with your new baby. And who is this person? Who is this being coming to the earth? Who is this? It's a whole new person that's we've never met before. It's your baby, but it's someone you've never met. It's you got to take this time to build a relationship and get to know each other, and to really just be present with them. And I feel like, when you're doing all this other stuff, sometimes it's hard to give your full attention to your baby when you're doing all the household stuff as well. So really giving yourself and your baby that foundation that, they feel on this deep level that you are there for them and you're so present with them, and that's their foundation then, even in times when, yeah, you have to cook and you have to clean and you maybe have to tend to your other children and all that other stuff. But, they have that foundation of coming into this world feeling like I'm receiving everything I need. I'm receiving all the care, all the attention, and you're just getting in a rhythm together. Yeah, and it really takes that time, because those first 6 weeks, at least for me, were the hardest. So if I would have been trying to do all this other stuff, I can see why people end up with postpartum depression, because it's too much. It's way too much. Because for me, physically, I felt fine, good, great. Like, 2 days, 3 days after, probably could have started doing a lot of stuff. But there's this whole other mental, emotional side to it that can easily get overlooked if you feel physically fine. That, you feel like you should just get back doing what you're doing because you feel physically fine. And, one thing that came up for me a lot was just, yeah, this guilt of it, like I should be doing this right now. And it really helped me process that because, we don't really have, at least, I don't know, in my circle and where I come from in the States, these cultural traditions of, okay, the mother takes 6 weeks and everyone knows that, so everyone supports that. It's like we don't have as many of these traditions as maybe people have before. And without these, like, firm traditions, it's like maybe the mother doesn't take that for herself because she doesn't know to, or doesn't know she can, or doesn't know she needs to, um, and really just on this deeper level, giving yourself this permission to take this time, to prepare yourself for, the rest of your motherhood with this new baby. I feel giving yourself these 6 weeks to take yourself out of your normal life and enter into this different time space with this baby. Really, I feel like that time, I call it birthing the family, and I felt like I birthed myself as a mother, and my partner birthed himself as a father. And it was almost like it was time slowed down. So in the beginning, hearing about it, I was like, wow, this is so luxurious. 6 weeks of, just, getting my meals made for me and all that. And definitely it was luxurious in that way, but not without, the surges of birth. If you've given birth or been in birth world, it's like there's these surges that happen, and it was just same with the nest. It was like we really allowed ourselves to birth ourselves as a family, and it came with surges, and it came with difficult things coming up and emotions coming up, and and this role reversal where the nest can look different for everyone. And I can go into that in a whole nother thing. But yeah, I mean, for us, it was mostly just me and my partner. And so our roles kind of got reversed, and he took on all these other roles. And it definitely brought up a lot, it was me not doing all these things that I normally did. I felt really guilty. I felt really guilty asking for my needs, because I feel like as women, so many times it's like we're capable of holding so much and capable of doing so much, But then when we have to ask for help and ask to get our needs met, or if we have a really specific need but it feels really important, it can be really, really difficult. And that was one of the main things that came up for me, was just asking for help, even in times that I felt like, it might be received hard, or all that, but just being able to ask for help. And I feel like giving yourself that time just gives yourself, it's like supercharging yourself to be able to do all these things that you're able to do after. But with also being able to ask for more help, because I know I'm a first-time mom, so before, it was like if I need something, I would just do it myself. Of course, like I can do it. I'm super strong, super powerful, and all that. But then, caring for another being, it's like there's energy going to this other person, and it's not helping anyone to not ask for help. Sometimes, you want to just tough through it, and because you can do it, but then at the same time, is it helping your child for you just to tough through it, and maybe not giving them what they need fully? So that was a really big lesson. It was just being able to learn to voice my needs and birth myself in a mom like that, of being able to ask for what I need, not just for me, but for my baby as well. And yeah, so in preparing for our nest, me and my partner thought, because for me, I made a lot of frozen meals ahead of time, so we kind of thought that, okay, well, I have all these frozen meals made up, so my partner can just be the main person kind of caring for me then, and that would be fine. But when it really came down to it, it was like a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that needed to be done, and he did it awesome. But it was also a lot for him too. So it was both, me realizing that he needed some help too in the nest. So we ended up then later on having a friend who was able to help us and have her on board for our last couple weeks of that. But yeah, the nest is its whole own birth process of its own. But with you just really getting to be present with it, it needs all of your full attention, just like the birth needs your full attention. You have to be there and be present to see it, Like I was seeing that I was feeling bad asking for help because it was putting a lot of pressure on my partner too for all the needs I needed. So then I had to see that, okay, we need to call in extra help because my partner needs extra help, and that's perfect. Like, let's get extra help because I need all my needs met and he needs all his needs met. And, as mothers, it's like we have this ability to see this big picture and focus on so many things at the same time. So it's like we're these directors of the family, seeing what are the needs of myself, what are the needs of my partner, my husband, what are the needs of my child, and how can they all get met, and how can I be creative to figure out how they can all get met. And I feel like if I hadn't have given myself those 6 weeks, I would have suffered a lot emotionally and mentally, and just not known, and just would have called it postpartum depression because we have a name for it. It's postpartum depression. It's normal. But does it have to be there? You know, if our needs are met, do we still get the postpartum depression? You know, because yeah, I went through a lot of different emotions, but I feel like because I continually made sure that my needs were met and gave myself that time, I didn't have to have the postpartum depression that I would have had if I would have been stressed emotionally and stressed mentally, thinking I have to pull it all together now, you know, as a new mom, and if I don't, you know, pull it together, then I don't got it. But yeah, I feel like introducing these traditions, you know, that introducing these traditions into our culture, we can start to replace these things that we have, these diseases and syndromes and things, when we can, you know, really make sure our needs are met. And as moms, you know, if our needs are not met, we cannot be there fully for our family. We're not serving our family by underserving ourselves. The mother needs her full needs met on a physical, emotional, mental level to fully be there for her family. So the mother really taking away this energy of shame, energy of guilt, and asking for what she needs and to give herself that is really, for me, and I feel like for a lot of people in our society, is a huge clearing, to clear that, to really be able to be present and fully be there emotionally, physically, mentally for our children. You know, because they can feel it. They can feel if you're feeling stressed. They can feel if you're, you know, not getting your needs met, and then because you're trying to give them what they need, but then they're getting it at this cost of feeling this energy from you, you know, that your needs aren't met. So I feel like it's really the best thing we can do for our children, to fully care for them, is to first fully care for ourselves. And it's not selfish. It's for them, you know? It's for them. If I don't eat food, I don't have milk to give my baby, you know? And so I feel like I have so much more to say on this practice, and I'm excited to, yeah, just make more videos on how to prepare for the nest and more details about it. But I'm excited to introduce the concept and introduce the practice, and hope that it can help inspire other mothers that, you know, they deserve it. They deserve it. And it's really just about knowing that you deserve it and then standing to it and making it work how it can happen, you know? My best friend, she has 2 other kids, and she had a new baby, and she, you know, didn't think that, how can I take 6 weeks out like that? But then in the end she did, and, you know, and she's a better mother to all of her children for it. So yeah, that's where the planning comes in. So I'm excited to go into that more. But just know that you deserve it, and as you stand by it, that you deserve it, and stand by it that you're going to give yourself this gift because you know you need to do it for your family, the world's going to, you know, morph around it and, you know, make it happen for you because you know you need it. All right. Well, thank you so much. And if you have any questions or any comments or anything at all, let me know. And be sure to like and subscribe to continue to follow my blog. I'll have a lot more coming up on free birth and postpartum and life in Costa Rica and anything else that wants to come. All right. Thank you. Ciao.